Get him. Come on, man. I'm gonna... Don't you attack my constellation. Ah! Oh, hey! Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wingman's Hangar. The new episode, the new millennium 2013. How is everybody? Welcome to the show. We've got a lot of special things happening today. We want to start a little bit with the week in review. A lot's been happening here at Cloud Imperium. Chris Roberts is in town, leading the charge, getting us ready to go, getting things moving. We've got full production underway. We've got, which will help in the increase in things we'll be showing you along the way. So he's been in here kicking butt and taking names, and we're just totally excited. It's going crazy. We have 9 new hires. We'll get to that in just a second. We'll start. We have also, here's what's coming up. We have the forum feedback. We have the new 9, which is kind of like a little bit like the week in the review. We have an interview with Star Citizen's lead writer emeritus, David Haddock. And, of course, we have a good description of the Constellation's loading bay and how to unload and load the Constellation. So without further ado, we have a man sliding in on the chair from off camera. You might recognize him. He is the Star Citizen, Chris Roberts.
How you doing, everybody? Chris? I'm doing good.
You ready for this, man? The first Wingman's Hangar episode?
My first Wingman's Hangar appearance.
I know. Awesome. It probably won't be the last, I'd imagine.
Probably not.
Yes. So Chris and I go way back, and so if we banter a little too much, I've got a question special for him at the very end of this that he has no idea is coming. But remember that God is watching, and that you don't want to go to the special hell for answering incorrectly. Just get that out.
All right.
The
special hell of our community.
The special, exactly. So everybody, we've got
the hot box of the community.
That's right.
All right,
exactly.
Go.
So we want to go through. We want to, we have forum feedback. We listen to what you guys are saying. We keep track of that, and what we want to do is answer as many of those questions as we can during the process. Remember that we are doing the development now, so we'll take it out. And who better to answer your questions than the me. So this is from Okigama, and he says, you talked a little bit about boarding ships early in the process. Can you explain a bit more? Is it going to be like first-person shooter, planet-side Battlefield 3, or is it more third-person? How do you see this happening?
Okay, well, so the ship-to-ship boarding, and also actually there'll be first-person combat aboard sort of some persistent areas in space that would be like an asteroid base or maybe a star base. But it will be first person. I mean, pretty much when you're flying, you're in first person, so it's going to be, think of it as a first person shooter, but it's going to be a lot more tactical than, say, a lot of sort of current day military first person shooters, mainly because, this isn't Call of Duty. You're not blasting through 50 or 60 sort of stupid AI that you get to blow up in various different ways. I mean, you'll probably be on a smaller ship or a bigger ship. Maybe there'll be a crew of 10 or 20 people, and even you could try and take over Constellation, which only has a crew of 4, so that'll be a pretty quick battle. So there'll be an emphasis more on sort of the tactics. It's obviously more, terminal if you get killed or clipped when you're trying to board. So it's not sort of like you respawn and go right in again. So that's why it's more tactical. It's going to be, you'll have to be careful about what you're doing, and you don't really necessarily want to be just going there with guns blazing, because that could be a very short boarding action. There you go.
Unless you're the one getting boarded, then that's okay for you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, here's one from Genius. This will be right up your alley. Do you know anything about space stations in the game? Do you know anything about space stations in the game, Chris? Will you be able to dock manually, fully explore them? Can't you explain a little bit about the space stations?
I was just talking about, the space station would be the same. It's a sort of persistent. So we've got 2 persistent areas that would be sort of in space. One are sort of the more stationary ones. Right. Space station would be it. Asteroid base that I mentioned would be it. And then the big capital ships are also sort of persistent areas, although they're movable. There will be space stations. You will dock at them. You will move around in first person, and you'll actually be able to sort of interact and get some rumors and get some missions. So they're sort of they've got some of the features that you would have planet side, but because they're first person and persistent, they're not as safe as down on the planet.
Right. Okay, and this one is from Interitus. Is there any advantage to using the Freelancer as a mercantile ship? Ignoring cost, if the Constellation is better across the board, why would you consider the Freelancer?
Well, I'm not necessarily sure the Constellation is better across the board. I mean, it probably is. If you're running the Constellation and you've got your friends and you're running at maximum efficiency, I think you're going to be pretty formidable. But in a lot of cases, maybe if you're just flying around solo and doing your own stuff, freelancer, perhaps you can operate a bit more efficiently, may not require quite as much fuel, so you have advantages with it. I mean, there's a little pros and cons. I mean, the Constellation is going to be obviously very formidable, and even if you fly it yourself, you have the ability to have auto turrets and everything else, but you're probably not operating it at maximum efficiency because you can't necessarily fly it yourself and fly the P-52 yourself, versus the Freelancer, isn't quite as big as the Constellation, so in some ways could be potentially more maneuverable, and like I said, on a running cost basis may, burn less fuel as it moves around. So, there's pros and cons either way. I'd rather not necessarily come up against either one of them, but that's part of the balancing that we're going to do during the dogfighting. So.
Yeah, plus it depends on the upgrades you put into it too. I mean, just because you see a certain ship, you don't know what they have in lasers, turrets,
Absolutely, no, absolutely. So the upgrades make a big difference between ships. I mean, so if you set up a Freelancer a certain way and you've set up a Constellation another way, there could be a big mismatch. I mean,
exactly.
There's hopefully a lot for people to play and tweak and
customization
and have fun. Yeah.
Okay, this one is from Zlinga. He bought an M50 because it has a focus on the Interceptor racer. He wants to know, is there going to be racing in the game?
We've actually been talking about that. It's something pretty easy for us to do. We actually want to do kind of in-game things to let people bet against each other, play, do stuff. So we will have in-game racing.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like gladiatorial areas, racing areas, fun things to do.
We want people. The whole point of customization. We want a whole subculture of people showing up with their hot rod ships with
that's awesome.
Go faster stripes and
go faster stripes and
spoilers on the back.
Too much resistance on those stripes. You just didn't have them. All right, this is from Frank Post 424. How are you going to balance the guns on a Class 1 port against those in a Class 2? Especially since a Class 2 can swivel and get better aim, which would kind of make a Class 1 obsolete. So if the game's all about skill, are Class 2, too powerful?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say so. I mean, first of all, you'll probably be able to mount a heavier duty, harder hitting gun on a Class 1 because you don't have to counter the fact that you've got a sort of swivel mount.
So kind of like an old artillery maybe from World War II where you had the giant...
Yeah, I mean, like maybe a big heavy rail gun or just a heavier energy gun.
Nice.
But I mean, the Class... I mean, I would say that there'll be a fair amount of Class 2 stuff too, because that's kind of like modern military weapons where, you have the ability to have in the Apache helicopter, your minigun you can target with your helmet.
With your helmet, right?
But there's definitely trace and balances. So I think on a Class 1, you could probably mount a heavier duty weapon, and it sort of is also going to depend on what kind of playstyle you like.
All right, we have a few more questions for Roberts. From Chaos Griffin, are engines the power plants of the whole ship, or are they tied to thrusters? Exactly how are engines used?
Well, I think probably maybe the best way to think of engines or whatever is it is the power plant of the ship. So that is generating the power. So it can be a fusion engine, it can be an anti-matter engine, and it's generating the powers for your shields, it's generating the powers for your life support, your avionics, your weapons, and it's also generating the power to be expelling the mass, your fuel that you've stored to move around, and that gets expelled through the thrusters. And that's where you would be sort of fueling up with, say, hydrogen or something. And so the power plant does all that, so that's really what the engine is.
Okay. It says, this is from Flashback. Is the Aurora currently being developed, or is another ship in the pipeline? We actually have, that's easy to answer, but go ahead. Is the Aurora currently being developed?
It is absolutely being developed. It is the thing that Ryan Church is working on right now. We've been working on it. We're getting pretty close to doing a brochure like we did on the Constellation, and hopefully you guys will really dig it. It's pretty cool.
Here's one that kind of warms my heart, goes back to the old days. It's from Journeyman. He says, is there any hope for a Mantis cameo in Star Citizen? By the way, folks, Chris and I did work on Conquest Frontier Wars, and it comes out on Good Old Games next Friday.
All right.
22nd. Yeah.
I don't know. But we got the plug-in for
we did, didn't we? Did we mention that we're using Logitech products? Thank you. Anyway, so we'll get you one more here. Darth Angelus. In Freelancer, during a multiplayer game, if you landed on a planet or docked with a station, you would never actually see other players who were in the bars. Will Star Citizen players be able to interact with other players? That's a great question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. So that's a core part of what we're doing. So when you're down on the bars, you will be able to see other players as well as NPC characters and have conversations with them. And we've got some clever ways that we're thinking about how we'll handle the case if there is too many players in the spacebar for us to render at one time. So we've got some kind of cool ways of dealing with that. But we'll definitely, you'll definitely get to see the other players and feel like
especially your friends.
Definitely your friends. It'll use the same sort of setup that we've talked about in instancing in terms of having a friends list and persons of interest and people that are in your guild or potential enemies, and we sort of have a priority of how many people we can fit in, and we put them in, and if there's people beyond that, we have sort of a four-square check-in system where you can sort of search for someone and see if they've checked into the spacebar, and then when you search for them, they will come back into one of the slots, and you'll see someone that will be back in the crowd.
Okay, for the last question, remember God is watching you. In a game for like $1 million, if you're playing a game,
I'm more concerned about you.
If you're coming with it, who would win in a game of table tennis between you and me for $1 million? God is watching.
Me.
Apparently, the devil is too. Actually, the truth of the matter is, I think it'd be a coin flip. Chris and I had several battles back in the day over the table tennis table.
That is true. You did win a couple of times.
A couple. We'll tell you the truth once he leaves. No, actually, it's true. We're both. We used to be very decent, but we probably get killed by a lot of the guys and staff here now. Maybe. No, probably not. All right, listen, that's Chris Roberts. We're going to move on, and thanks a lot, everybody, for him joining us.
Thanks for you guys watching, and we'll be talking soon.
Heck yeah. That will not be the last time he is on the show, right? Because, that is the man himself, the legend. All right, we want to talk a little bit about the new Nine today, this week. If you guys remember, in Lord of the Rings, they had the Fellowship of the Nine. So we decided to follow that along with The Hobbit, The Unexpected Journey that came out. And we've hired 9 people. We're only hiring 9 at a time. So we want to introduce you this week to the 9 new Cloud Imperium members. So come on in, guys. The 9. Here comes the 9. They're putting their pants on. The 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
like the hobbits.
8,
Hobbit turn.
9. Everybody bow down.
Bow down.
Bow down. Say hi to everybody out there, the 9.
Hello.
All right, that's them. Look around. These are the people that are going to be creating Star Citizen. That guy will definitely be on the show more often than once. Never. So say hi, everybody, and now say bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Oh, good. That feels so good. My moobs. All right. So that was the 9, and trust me, you're going to love them. We've got some interviews coming up. We've interviewed every one of them. We're going to introduce one of them like one or two a week, and then we'll have a question and answer session with them, and then we'll have them on the Wingman show to where we can take some of your questions and get a little more in-depth with each one of them. They're great guys. We've been very lucky to bring them all on board. We've got an unbelievable team. And if you're in Austin today, we're going to be out drinking somewhere at about 6:30 for a company happy hour. Find us, and we might buy you a drink. Or you can buy us one. Either way. Actually, you've kind of already done that. So, in a moment, Dave Haddock is going to be joining us. Dave Haddock is an amazing writer. If you've been reading the fiction on our website, some of the people that have come on board, some of the stories he's put together have been fantastic. So we're gonna interview Dave. We're gonna bring him on board. He's gonna be sliding in here any minute. I think our producers got him. Here comes Dave now as we speak. Oh, wait. Before I got out of, look at me getting out of script. See, this is what happens when you put Wingman on. Nobody puts baby in a corner. All right, so first we want to show you guys a little bit about the Constellation. We do a lot of things for the subscribers. We'll release it to the subscribers first. and then it trickles down eventually to the rest of the fans that have pledged. Now remember, without the subscribers, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the professional things that we've had. We have full staff people, like a producer for this show. We have people that are putting together the Jump Point magazine for us, things like that. And then we also able to leak and put out things, animations and such. So what we wanted to do right now is I wanted to give you guys a quick rundown on the whiteboard as to how, and I'm just going to go over there, as to how the constellation is loaded and unloaded, because we've got an animation that we're going to be revealing later. So first, let me draw the constellation here on the screen. I think you guys will like this. I'm actually a really, really good artist. I shouldn't be producing the game. I really should be pretty much doing the art for it. Honestly, it's a shame that we have to have such quality artists when they hit somebody like me that is actually there on staff. So, all right. So here's an example of the constellation. All right. This is pretty much what it looks like in the game. We'll put a little RSI guy here. That actually doesn't look like RSI logo. It looks a little different than what I thought. But anyway, so this is the way you unload and load a constellation. First, we'll have you come out of your ship, and you'll have a crate. And the guy here, you yourself, will kick the crate down the ramp. And what it'll do is it'll load into this bucket, and there'll be all kinds of crates in the bucket. And so this is pretty much how you unload your ship. You kick it down the ramp. Now the problem is, if you're not wearing your gravity boots and you're doing this in space, or you are wearing your gravity boots and you cheated on your wife and she removed the magnets, you might actually go floating off into space, and then you pretty much leave your constellation, this beautiful ship here. We need windows, because you can't have maybe a hydrogen smokestack from the back there. This is I think this is great. Anyway, look for this later on today. We're going to be releasing an actual animation of the constellation that you guys will be able to see. It'll actually be the ship. It probably won't be as nice as what you've seen right there, but it will be there, and that's for you guys to check out. So hi, Dave. Hi. Did you guys see the magic of that? Dave just appeared. Just freaking out of nowhere. It is cinema. Isn't it amazing? Yeah. So we're going to ask Dave a few questions. We'll get to know him a little bit. I mean, if you've been reading the fiction on the web, it's been all you, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Chris and Ben and Pete and everybody's been kind of contributing.
Well, sure. Not, but me. I've had a comment or two, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Instrumental.
Yeah, instrumental. Instrumental, he said. I'm buying his first round tonight just for that. So anyway, let's got a few questions. We got some out there from the fans. We've got some from the team. Actually, we had Dave write some of his own questions because I'm a lazy cuss. How did you come to the attention of the Star Citizen team? How did you end up joining the group?
I actually worked for Chris's production company, Ascendant Pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I was an intern there. It was my first kind of job when I moved out from New York to LA.
Right.
And they basically hired me as a PA intern. And I worked on that for what turned into be like 2.5 years, and got to know Chris, got to know everybody involved and stuff like that, and then pretty much just kind of kept in touch and started doing writing work sort of on the side for Chris, for the guys from Outlander and stuff like that. And it basically.
I like Outlander. That movie, the Weinsteins really screwed that, because that movie is, if you haven't seen Outlander, it's really underrated. I think that the effects in it are really good. The writing's good. It's got Ron Perlman in it. How could it be bad?
It's true.
Seriously, Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
So have you played any Chris Roberts games before, and which one's your favorite?
I played Wing Commander. That was the one I basically played it until my computer started, because they wouldn't it was basically run too fast on it. Remember that? It wouldn't clock.
You were playing the older versions on the newer computers, right? Until Clearati Saga, which we fixed that.
So, but yeah, actually, I never had a computer that could run any of the other ones. So, and it turned out basically just Wing Commander, and actually Bad Blood. I forgot. I used to play Bad Blood.
Dude, you played Bad Blood? That's old school right there. I mean,
I was a Larry Elmore fan who did I think the cover for the box for it.
Wow.
But yeah, so
Yeah, Bad Blood. I think that was the first game Chris did at Origin. I mean, we recruited him for Origin. I got in on the recruitment process. I wasn't actually working there. I just kind of knew everybody back when, like, Dallas Snell, Garriott, Greg Malone. So we, again, we're playing table tennis and games and stuff together, and Todd Porter, and yeah, Chris was doing Bad Blood. That was his first game for Origin. It was a pretty cool little game. Yeah. And that was back when games were, this will never be an industry. This is, it's crazy. These people, these kids, are ruining the lives of people all over the world. Yes, we are. That's right. Do you guys feel ruined out there? Do you think they're ruined? Probably.
In a positive way.
Yeah, in a positive way, right? I mean, how else would we be a society of girth if we didn't have video games?
Right.
So regarding your how you write, right? Because and by the way, I'm a big fan of the writing, not just the man, the myth, the legend, but also the writing has really got me enthralled to where I'll come by and say, hey, what's going on next, right? So do you have a process for the fiction? How do you get into it? How do you write?
It kind of depends. Like with the Cal Mason, the Kid Crimson stuff, that was kind of the easiest because. I mean, the Kid Crimson stuff is obviously very kind of film noir type thing, but it was the easiest way was like, kind of locking onto what the story was and making sure that everything is pushing towards that end point. But like my kind of cheat for it was everything that I wrote for Cal Mason was sort of written from the perspective of an optimist, and Kid Crimson was a cynic.
Sure.
So ideas I would come up with if it was sort of an optimistic resolution for a problem, and I was writing Kid Crimson, I would ignore it.
Right on.
And go with an angrier, of course it's going to go bad type
That's
thing.
interesting.
So that just made it easier to kind of make decisions because basically, it's like there's a lot of stuff to kind of put out on a weekly basis. So it's like shifting gears back and forth to two very tonally different things.
Right.
I was just kind of using kind of cheat shorthands to do it, and that was the.
That's a process.
Yeah.
So yes, you do have a process. Apparently, there is a process.
And coffee.
And
coffee.
We do have that. So how much of the game mechanics factor into your fiction? I mean, we've got a lot of mechanics in the games.
Right. I mean, it's tough. I try to make it as accurate as possible, but we're still working out the what the game mechanics will be and stuff like that. So sometimes it's fictional liberties, just for the sake of like pacing or the story, stuff like that. But obviously, I'd like to try and keep it as close to what players can ultimately do.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we'd be held accountable. Truthfully,
Right.
The fans out there are unbelievably. They're right all into it. They're into the universe. You're creating the verse for them, and I think if we probably did something like that and then they couldn't do it in the game, we'd hear about it.
Right.
And you should hold us accountable. Absolutely. If this is your game, you guys should hold us accountable, especially Dave. So will we see Cal or Kid Crimson back? I mean,
I think so. Most likely, yeah. I mean, the new one was just sort of wanted to give those guys a break, but I would love to. I mean, I enjoyed both of those characters, and I think like their worlds are so interesting that definitely stand for more exploration.
I totally agree. And by the way, we're toying around with an idea, and you guys might want to put this in the forums. But Dave's writing is the way it's written, and the stories are really you've got this in-depth feel about them. It'd be nice. There are a lot of graphical artists out there in the community. Wouldn't it be nice to see some sort of where they put some panes together,
Sure.
Maybe throw some graphical panes and throw them at us. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll put your stuff in our website, on our website. Writer's block. Do you ever get writer's block?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, there's times where you kind of today.
Really?
I'm sitting staring at the thing. Like we have a new update on Tuesday, and just kind of sitting, and it's just a blank screen, and I'm just kind of watching the cursor.
You should probably create a Wingman character, I think. Somebody who's understated,
Right.
slim, very attractive,
Right.
can host a webcast.
like inferior of the universe.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
right.
Nothing would happen without him. Kind
Right.
Of. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, that's clearly.
Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have any advice for fan fiction writers?
I mean, this is early enough in its process that like I think it's kind of the fun thing where it's not everything is so locked down. It's not such an established world like Star Wars or whatever, where there's kind of become a very rigid set of rules that it's fun to just see. Like I've been going on the fan fiction section of the forums and kind of reading some of the stuff and stuff like that. And it's, a lot of it's just fun because it's people
Absolutely
using their imagination and imagining where they would like to see the universe
Exactly.
go. And that stuff is just always great to great to read.
Yeah, and the universe is still being developed. I mean, we the idea is that it will never actually end. If
Right.
if this thing becomes as big as we think it's going to be, and that's all up to you guys and us to create it. And we so far we're off to a rocking start. I mean, there will be we have Squadron 42. There's the big universe. There will be snippets of fiction going on throughout the universe. So there'll be mini storylines happening here and there.
Right.
So who knows? Maybe some of those stuff will be used. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit and do an homage to James Lipton for Inside the Actor Studio. See if I can actually read here. So, we've got some questions for you, Dave. I can't read from there.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite word?
Onus.
Onus. You do know that's spelled with an A.
I've heard
Oh, that's not onus. Oh, that's not onus. Ha, there's no A in onus. So
Right.
why is onus?
Don't make that mistake in
You
school.
mean, apparently, that's not good.
All right. Your
So-
English teacher will not be happy with you if you put that in a report.
How many objects are actually today circling Uranus?
Generally, it's no fewer than 4.
4?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's Uranus is it's got a lot of objects circling it.
It's a big gravitational pull.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It's got a giant sucking sound occasionally too. It's very gaseous. It is a gaseous Uranus, I believe, right? So what? It gets no better than this. What turns you off? What turns you off?
Talking in movies.
Yeah, have you ever been to Alamo Draft House where they have the little ads?
Oh, I've seen the ad.
Those are great.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance, go to YouTube, check out the Alamo Draft House,
Cell phone.
the cell phone call. Oh
Yeah,
my
the voicemail.
God, that is hilarious.
It's very, very funny.
Oh man, and it's the funny part is it's real. It's
Oh, I'm sure.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, what profession other than your own would you like to try?
Originally, I wanted to be an FBI agent, so I would stick with that.
Too many letters.
Yeah.
I understand.
Put onus on the application.
He put on. Are you sure it was onus?
Maybe not. That's probably why I didn't get in.
Well, you kind of have to be an asshole to be in the FBI. Sorry, we're a T-rated show. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear from God when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Sorry.
Sorry? Interesting. Okay. All right, and the last question before we let Dave go. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
An African or European swallow.
Good answer. All right. Special thanks to Dave Haddock for jumping in and saying hi. We're going to send him off now. He's gone out of the frame now, and it's back to my show. Thanks for joining us, Dave. Appreciate it. A slide into the middle, the producer says. We got a special thanks again to Logitech. When you want the very best in computer game products, it's Logitech all the way. Logitech. 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 All right. Coming up next week, we're going to have a lot more dev team members on chat roll. By the way, join our chat channel. It's really active. There's always 50 plus people in there. Some hilarious folks in there. A shout out to Idolonius, Pleasure, Zane. All the guys I see in there all the time. Eddie. You'll catch a lot of stuff in there. Sometimes things are revealed as we go. And also, big shout out to Dr. Hawk. He's been doing a web show or a radio broadcast show. We'll probably maybe have some team members popping in and out of there. We love the fact that users are creating content. It's great. It's fantastic. We'll have dev team video interviews going on throughout the week. And we'll have next week's guest, Chief Visual Officer Chris Olivier. Not only do we have talent, we also can make up new exciting titles. Chief Visionary Officer. Chris Olivier, by the way, is amazing. Check out his reel. He was at Troublemaker Studios for the last 10 years. Worked with Chris and I at Origin Systems and at Digital Anvil. Unbelievably talented. So also we have, for the subscribers this week, we have new concept art in the vault. More fiction from Dave Haddock and a new Jump Point edition. And the Bingle Carrier, how it was made, what went through, and a breakdown of how it looks and how we got to that point. Want to also say, by the way, regarding citizens cards, we're still waiting on the last few people to log in or convert over from Kickstarter, and then we'll do the one run of the citizens cards. So we should have some updates on that pretty quick. And a special thanks out there to you guys. Without you, this would not be happening. We love it. We're having a great time, obviously. We've got a fantastic team. We feel you're part of the team. We're going to engage and bring you into the process. So look forward. The show is going to evolve as we move forward. We're going to build a lot of things around it. And say hi, Mike. Put yourself in there. Say hi. There's Mike. Wow, that was Mike. I'm glad you had clear nostrils there. So anyway, we'll say good night. We'll see you later, or good afternoon. Have a good show. And there might be me coming on in the Wingman's Nuts segment here in a few minutes in my office, kind of the after show, the after party, kind of like an AA meeting. I'll be hosting the AA after party in my office later. So thank you guys. Thank you. And keep being Star Citizens.